All right, well, welcome everybody. I am Kathy Cocazella, and of course we have the lovely Noelle Delgrand here as well, my partner in crime. And today is May 26th, and it is a special day because we have Stacy Itzel as our guest speaker, so we are very excited about that. Of course, there's lots of excitement going on in Executive Bound right now. I mean, you guys, every day I'm getting messages, you're totally blowing me away. So it's really exciting to see what's happening. We had our fun little social on Friday, our little happy hour social for Executive Bound Friday, and it was very inspiring. I mean, wow, the stories. We laughed and we cried when Jody Dillman and Stacy Turner shared their story about the lake cabin. We were all in tears. So that was on their vision board this year, and they both have ended up accomplishing that, and they are now going to be neighbors at their lake cabin. So it's really pretty cool. So anyway, it was just really a lot of fun. So thank you for those of you that tuned in. I know it was Memorial Day weekend and not everybody was able to join in, but it was really great to hear from everybody. So I want to hear some good news. I want you guys to type in the chat some great things that are happening right now. I just want to celebrate with you a little bit, and then we're going to have Stacy jump right in and share. So it is brag time. I know that we have some of you actually got an on-track letter from Gene Jonas for the Alaska trip. So that is really exciting. I know some people have earned excellence awards, some people have earned a trifecta. So that's great. I actually think there's somebody, maybe a couple, that have earned in all 4 categories for the very first time. So just keep them coming, type them in the chat. I know we've had promotions of 4, 5, or 6 this month. I know that a lot of you have big goals. I know some of you have had really huge growth. So whatever it is that you want to share that you're excited about, we actually have people that are finishing up executive, finishing up month 2. We have some that are hitting month 1. We have some that are hitting SED month 1, and we have some that are hitting SED month 2. So it's like nonstop. So
Emily has shared that she's about to hit month 1 of national.
Oh, that's right, Miss Emily. She's rocking it. Emily Kerrigan.
Yeah. Erin is getting so close to month 1 and trifecta. Lisa's best team sales ever. Org sales breaking a record for Penny. Ashley, SED month 1 is happening. Woo! Jen Mittner, highest sales ever, over 75,000. Jenny hit excellence in 4 categories and elite cruise. Christina is on track, Jennifer is earning her first 5-figure paycheck this month. Karen is 4 categories in excellence. So many. There's 30 more, so I can't read them all.
Okay, well, we'll read them through later. And of course, when we have the recording, you guys will be able to see all of that in the chat as well. So keep it coming, because that's really exciting to see what's happening. So I know that actually we have 10 out of the 18 that I know of. They're already green to hit exec. So that's super exciting. We have 24 that are going for exec month 1. And that's just in Executive Bound, you guys. We actually have 13 others outside of Executive Bound that Noelle and I, and actually some of the rest of the team, has been helping us with those people as well. So, you know, May is even better than April. I mean, April already broke records, and already May is better than that. So it's really exciting. And you know what? It really tells me 2 things. I always tell people that numbers tell a story. And the first story that it tells me is that you guys are reaching your dreams and goals. I mean, I have heard incredible stories of people saying this is my best paycheck ever in April, and all of a sudden May is exceeding it. So that's exciting. And the second story it tells me is that you guys are serving our customers well with great mealtime solutions. And so, you know, one thing I've always said is our success is directly related to the number of people we serve. So kudos to all of you for all the incredible job that you guys are doing with all of that. So we are going to jump right in and introduce Miss Stacy here. And I found a few fun pictures of her. Look at her little grin. Stacy's going to be talking about some key strategies to really strengthen your directors, with a big focus on them being paid at title, because obviously that is somebody who's very strong. And as you guys know, Stacy Itzel is somebody who inspires everybody who crosses her path, not only because of her accomplishments, but just because of the person that she is. Not only is she a top performing national executive team and an incredibly gifted trainer, but she is also a terrific mom, wife, and friend who puts her family and her faith first. So I wanted to share some stats with you. So you guys see a picture of her here at Circle of Honor in Hawaii with her adorable husband. Don't they look so beautiful there? This is Paris, and then this is that a wedding, Stacy? Which picture?
Yeah. So the picture of my husband and I is at my daughter's wedding last year, and that was the rehearsal. The family picture is the rehearsal dinner the night before.
Oh, nice. Very fun. I love it. Beautiful. All right, so let's talk about all these amazing accomplishments. So Stacy started her business in October of 2005. So she's going to be celebrating 15 years this fall, which is exciting. And she promoted to National Executive Director on June 1st of 2017. She has $1.7 million in career sales, well over 400, well, she has 448 qualified recruits. I did check that. She's earned Circle of Honor in recruiting 3 times, you guys. Okay, this is the tip of the top, like the top performer in the company. When you're Circle of Honor. For those of you that are new, I know some of you are so new, you were like, wait, what's Founders? What's Circle of Honor? So you guys are still figuring this out. Stacy has been a 4-category Excellence Awards achiever the last 5 years and has been a multi-category Founders Award achiever since 2009. She has earned all top-level trips, earned the executive trip to Paris. She has had an extremely successful 2019. She led her team to a $10.2 million organization, and her team recruited 1,909. Hello, that's amazing. So guys, but look at this, where she's at 2020 already. Her organization has hit 8.1 million in sales and 1,305 new team members. And one of the most impressive pieces of this, which is what we're talking about today, is this very last stat. She has 94 leaders in her organization, and 92 were paid at title in April. And that's as of April, so I might have missed one. So Stacy, you'll have to let me know if, if that is the case. Are those correct?
Oh, I don't know. It changes all the time.
Okay. All right. So now, did you want to share your screen, Stacy?
I will in a few minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
if you want to take that down, yeah,
I will do that. Let's
dump
stop.
into that.
Yeah,
So,
fantastic.
okay.
All right.
Fine,
So
Stacy.
thank you so much for being here, Stacy. You go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, first I have to say congratulations to all of you on your successes. Oh my gosh, just watching that chat blow up is absolutely amazing. And Emily, we can't wait to welcome you to the national team. That's going to be super exciting. And for all of you, I know there's already some execs on here. I see my friend Lori Bedwell. I can only see some of you, but yeah, that's just incredible what is happening in this company right now. And each of you are working towards reaching one of the highest levels of leadership within Pampered Chef. And I know that you can all agree that you have grown both personally and professionally. And in doing that, you're helping others to do the same. And that's truly the highest level of leadership, is helping others to grow. So Kathy asked me to talk to you all about strengthening directors. And I know that you all had a review of Impact on your last webinar. And so I hope that you've been able to go through Impact and are starting to implement that program with your leaders. The key is to get your directors engaged right away and start the check-in calls that are laid out in the Impact Leader Guide. I was very honored to be on the field council for that program. And what I love most about it is that it really delivers the training in bite-sized pieces for these new directors and gives them time to implement the things that they are learning before they're piled on with more training. So I love the pacing of it. And I love that there is that leader guide for us as the upline to director that goes right along with it. So in addition to impact, I want to focus on one of some of the best ways that you can strengthen your directors. And that is really to set an expectation that both you and they should be paid at title every single month. And you know, right now, let's just face it, April, May, that's super easy, like what's happening. But what about prior to that? And what about in the months after? Like, we don't know what the future holds, but we can always have that expectation that we and they are paid at title. And it's our job to lead by example. So the most important thing to remember, even before you reach the executive title, is that there are usually two reasons why we aren't paid at title. And one is that you don't have enough leaders. And the second is that you might have enough leaders, but you don't have enough leaders being paid at title. So it's either you don't have enough people in the pot, or you've got a big pot, but that pot isn't being paid at their title. Okay? So I know what it means when I'm not paid at title each and every month. And I know how that impacts my family, but I don't want to ever lose sight of the fact of what it means for my leaders when they're not paid at title, and how that feels for them. And how does that impact them financially? So I know for a fact that one of my leaders cannot buy groceries if she's not paid at title. I also know that another leader feels very discouraged and like she's letting her team down and our entire organization down when she's not paid at title. I know that another leader cannot afford to pay tuition for her children's private schooling when she's not paid at title. And I know another one will be forced to go back to working a full-time job if she's not paid at title. And that physical stress of her working that full-time job actually causes her autoimmune disease to flare up. That's how important it is for her to be paid at title every month. Another leader will feel stressed and worried if he made the right decision to leave his full-time job if he's not paid at title. So as executives and as upline leaders, we have a real responsibility to help strengthen our leaders, not just so that we are paid at title, but so that they can be paid at theirs. And isn't that what we love most about the business? I know that's what I love most about the business, is that as we help strengthen and elevate and lift others up, it lifts us up as well and strengthens us as well. Our business isn't always easy, but I can promise you it is always worth it. No one ever remembers the easy things in life anyway, right? Like, how many of y'all have had a baby? That was not easy, but you remember every detail of every single delivery, don't you? We remember what we work hard for. And our hard work is worth it because we are empowering other people to meet their financial goals and have confidence in themselves and fulfill their dreams. So raise your hand if you want to be paid at title every single month. Raise your hand if you want your leaders to be paid at their title every single month. Now, how many of you actually expect to be paid at title every month and expect your leaders to be paid at title every month? And how many of you are trying to figure out, well, what's the difference between wanting and expecting? When we want something, we can imagine ourselves having it. We can visualize what it would feel like to be paid at title every month. But on some level, it's really just a daydream. It's just a desire. When we actually expect expect something to happen, that's when we start adding intention to the mix, and we work a plan each and every day to achieve what we expect. But it starts with the actual expectation. So what is your expectation of yourself and your team? Do you have the mindset of, I only need to be paid at title at the executive level once every 6 months to keep my title? Be honest with yourself. If in the month after you've been paid as whatever your title is, do you ever have that feeling of like, oh, I'm good, I'm safe for the next X amount of months, whatever that may be? If you ever have those feelings, I would say you aren't expecting to be paid as every month. And you know what? I used to have that same expectation, even though I said I wanted to be paid as every month. If we have the thought that we only need to be paid at title once every 6 months, once every 9 months, once a year, that's what it is for national. You have to be paid at title once a year to hold that title. But if you have that kind of mindset, and that's your dominant thought, it is going to trickle down to every leader within your organization. And you will see that play out in your actions. And more importantly, you'll see it play out on your performance tracker. You'll see the results of that mindset. So shortly after we promoted to national team in 2017, some of my leaders asked me, so how often do we have to do it to keep our national title? And my answer was, we have to do it every single month. And they were like, yeah, we know what the rules say, but I mean, what you say, but we want to know, like, really, how often do we have to meet this title? And I was like, we really have to do it every single month. I didn't want to tell them what the minimum was, because as soon as we started thinking about that was the very minute we had a problem. Now, eventually, I did tell them, because quite frankly, they could go to the policy guide and find it themselves. But I'm confident that if you ask any leader in my organization what the expectation is, they will tell you we are expected to be paid at title every single month. We need to focus. When you aren't paid at title, let me ask you this question. When you aren't paid at title, which generation do you tend to fall short in? You can hold up a finger. I see it, yes. The majority of you are holding up the first generation. The first generation is where you as a director at any level, upper level director, needs to focus. That is going to be your weak spot. Even if it isn't today, that is where you will find your weaknesses. And it's because we are the only ones that can fuel and fill that first generation. All of the other generations get filled by every other generation. You are the only one that can fuel your first generation. I know some of you still need to focus on that second generation to promote, but what I'm speaking to is this 3 months from now, 4 months from now, you really need to put your time and attention into that first gen. So let's see if we can tackle those 2 reasons why we aren't paid at title. We don't have enough leaders, or we don't have enough leaders paid at title. So most of you have heard about the book, The Wisdom of Oz, right? It focuses on personal accountability, and it's a critical piece of success, that personal accountability. We have to be willing to see our problem, own our part of it, develop a plan to solve it. And then here is the biggest piece of it. You have to go do it. So many of us are like, well, I know what my problem is. Like, you have no problem identifying it. And you know what you should do, but you don't go do it. So let's start with that first reason that we aren't paid at title. We don't have enough leaders. Raise your hand if you have ever said to a consultant, it's just a numbers game. Has anybody ever said that? Okay, good. I thought I was the only one there for a second. What are some of the times that we say this? Like, we might talk about booking enough parties, right? We say, you've just got to have enough reach outs to book enough parties. You might say it in host coaching, like, we need at least 40 people to join this party to be able to get the orders, to get the bookings. We might say, when we're talking about recruiting, you have to have enough recruiting chats to personally recruit the number of people each month. You might say it when you're when you're working to a consultant who's working to promote to director. You really need 6 to 8 people on your team to have the 5 active. So if we know that it's a numbers game in those key areas of our business, and we know it's key to being paid at title, why are we not putting all the time and energy we can into building that first gen and promoting directors so that we have enough directors to be paid at title in our first gen? Are we spending too much time on, you ready? Saving and protecting what we already have in place versus building and growing new directors? And that is so tempting for all of us because we have these relationships with these leaders and we care about them and we know what it means to them. We end up wanting it for them way more and wasting way too much time helping them to save something and protect something when they just aren't willing to do the work. So if we are at minimum structure in our first generation, as an executive, we are living in a stressful place. And I want to tell you something, so are those first generation directors, because they know what it means. No matter how much we don't want our title to be about their performance, at the end of the day, it is. And when we're at minimum structure, they know it and feel the pressure. We need to work with them to help them be strong and be paid at title. But the reality is some will never be paid at title every single month. And an even bigger reality is some of them will promote and be gone 3 months later, 6 months later, or maybe 9 months later. And we'll talk about that in a minute. We have to force ourselves not to get caught up in that trap of not only trying to strengthen what we have, because that's a good thing, but we need to continually promote new directors. It is not optional. It is part of what you have to do on a regular basis as an executive. So if you're wondering what the suggested amount is, if you want to be a strong executive, you should absolutely have 9 first generation directors. If you want to be a strong senior executive, you should absolutely have 12 first generation directors. Do you see what's 9 first generation directors actually give you structure for? Senior executive. What does 12 first generation directors actually give you structure for? National. So really have this mindset. Whenever you're trying to strengthen the level that you are currently at in the leadership plan, work for the structure of the next level. And you can take that same philosophy and give it to your advanced directors. A strong advanced director should have 3 first gen. A strong senior should have 6 first gen. As a national, I should say you would definitely have, you would want to have 15 in your first gen. Me personally, I want to have 25 first gen directors. Double the national structure. Because I just don't want to be paid at title every month. I want to be paid at title by the 15th of every month. Like that's my big goal. So strengthen your entire organization by not just having that overage in your first gen, but also make it a goal to have 50% of your first generation directors be upper level directors. And then, like I said, work towards that next level in the career plan to ensure growth versus maintenance. So just like we lose parties every single month and we lose consultants every single month, we also lose directors. I don't know that there is anyone in this Zoom chat right now or that will watch this back later that has never lost a director from your organization. Maybe if you just promoted, maybe like there hasn't been time for that yet, but the reality is you will lose a director. When I got very comfortable with the fact that no matter how much I tried to strengthen directors, I was still going to lose them, that's when I actually was able to grow our organization. So many years ago, I started something called a win-lose list. And I wish I could tell you when I started, it was like super technical and fancy. It wasn't. It was a piece of spiral notebook. It was a notebook. Let me try that again. It was a piece of paper in a spiral notebook. And I literally drew a line down the center and it said win and lose. Win were all of the director promotions that happened. Lose was every director that lost title. I knew there was going to be names in that lose column, but my goal at the ends of each year was to have my win column be longer than my lose column, particularly in that first generation. And by starting that list, it kept me focused on growth. It's all I thought about was growing that win column. Now, we can all agree that we need to continually promote more directors, specifically into our first generation. But have you ever looked at your personal team and thought, oh my gosh, I don't have anybody to work with right now? Like all the flowers have been picked. Yep, okay. That happened to me too, and it happens every single year, 2 or 3 times every single year. I look at my personal team and I'm like, oh dang, we got a problem. So every once in a while, we'll have a consultant that's been sitting in our personal team for a couple of years that finally decides they want to be a director. Or maybe we have a director that lost title that rolls back into our personal team and they decide that they want to rebuild. But ladies and gentlemen, I know you've heard this cliche before and you've probably said it. It is easier to give birth than to resurrect the dead. If you are looking for those re-promotes and somebody to suddenly catch the fire to promote to director, you're going to be on for a long, hard search. We cannot depend on roll-ups, re-promotes, and renewed intentions from consultants that have been around a while to build a strong first generation of directors. And here's where our personal accountability comes in. Are you consistently recruiting 2 new consultants a month? That is what you need at a bare minimum. At a bare minimum, you will not grow with 2 new consultants a month. It needs to be 4. As upper level leaders, 1 a week. 4 and 1, every single one at the executive level. Every single week, we should be doing a 4 and 1. There is no question why top performers are having the incredible fast-paced growth that they're having, and it's because they have a strong personal show schedule and they're consistently adding new consultants to their personal team. If we want to be paid at our titles every month, then we have to build that large and productive personal team from which we continually promote directors. That's the role of a leader, right? And we do that by having that strong personal business from which we are consistently recruiting and adding them into there. And then we always have that fresh group of people that we're working with in a director bound. When you start creating that win-lose list, you'll see the importance of that new business and new recruits. All right, so just for clarification, I do not want you to think for 1 second that I am all about promote, 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 throw enough spaghetti at the wall and some of them will stick. That is not my philosophy. It was just the place where I had to get my head so that I wasn't constantly trying to save and protect. I had to get that realization that I was going to lose directors. I just didn't want that lose column to be longer than my win column. What I would really love is for that lose column to be empty. I want to have an undefeated season. I want everyone to keep their title. And don't you all really want the same? All right. So how can we strengthen our leaders? We've had a lot of training on the 3 cultures that we want within our organizations the last 3 years. Teamwork and monthly activity, fast-paced recruiting growth, career plan advancement. And to create those cultures, we all know that the formula is you have to know what your culture is, you have to teach it, you have to live it, and you have to protect it. So when I take a look at my win-lose list, what I see, because I'm constantly focusing on those cultures, is the gap is growing between the number of promotions and the number of losses. My win list is sometimes 2 and 3 pages long, whereas my lose list is only a half a page long. And I believe it's because we have embraced those cultures and we talk about them constantly within our organization, month after month after month, at spring launches, at fall launches, at director retreats, on our director gathering calls that we have each month. We have stayed on that same messaging and haven't left it. Those cultures are strengthening every director's team, which strengthens our entire organization overall. It is not just something that we train on, it is something that we are living out and protecting. So when I look back at some of the things that we're doing to create those cultures, I can see that they fit into 4 different principles. And I'm going to tell them to you, and then I'll give you some details on them. The first one is to have expectations and goals. The second one is to have transparent accountability. The third one is to have relationship building and support in place. And then the fourth one is to have a duplication focus, like everything that we implement is duplicable by any other consultant, director at any level. Now, all 4 of these are completely connected, and some actually don't work without the other. Expectations and goals only work with transparent accountability. It's easy to set a goal. It's even easier to lose motivation to work towards that goal. Consistent accountability is crucial to achieving expectations and goals. We need it ourselves, our leaders need it, and the consultants and our teams need it. John Maxwell says one of the greatest mistakes leaders make is sharing expectations without later including accountability. In 2016, Forbes.com shared an article entitled Why Accountability is Critical for Achieving Winning Results. Now, it may seem obvious, but accountability is probably the single most important element fueling truly successful organizations. That was a quote from that article. So everybody out there agrees you need accountability with goals and expectations. Now, transparent accountability only works if you have built relationships with the people that you are holding accountable. And as we build those relationships, we are also strengthening our leaders by modeling behavior that they can model and then duplicate and teach others to model and duplicate well. Did you ever hear someone say, do as I say, not as I do? I think I heard my mom say that a few times when I was a kid, when she was doing something that she didn't want to see me do, whether it was saying a swear word or, whatever. How important is it for us as leaders to be doing what we tell others to do? So important. We have got to walk the talk. So I'm going to share 3 expectations we have on our team and how we have that transparent accountability. I am sure most of you are doing these. Back in the day, it was it was not as widespread as it is now. So expectation to be paid at title every month, expectations to set goals, expectations to lead your team, be a leader, versus hold a title. Two very different things. So let's talk about the first expectation, paid at title every month. All right, so here's where I'm going to screen share a little bit. Okay. So this is one of those things that I'm sure many of you are doing. Like I said, when I started this, I think about 6 years ago, it was actually considered very taboo to put up whether someone was being paid at title or not. Got a lot of eyebrows raised at me for a while. But every week for the last 6 years, I have updated our structure board on a weekly basis, showing the teams that go green, and the ones that aren't green are in a big eye-popping red. So the whole entire organization can see who has not yet been, oh, let me clarify. This is director green, I should say. This is just director green. I'll talk about paid at title in a minute. But this was as of yesterday, I believe, in our organization for the month of May. We have consistently had a high paid at director title for so long now that I then started adding different sales marks. Like green is 5,000 in team sales. They get a little wave under their ship when they're a 10,000 team, and then they get a flag on their ship when they become a 25 personal sales team. These ships up top, the NED ships, do not turn green until we've met that NED structure. And I also don't turn my personal ship green until I'm director green as well. So like I said, I do update this on a weekly basis. At the end of the month, in the last few days, I kind of do it a little bit more daily. And then I do a final post at the beginning of each month to show where we landed. And Kathy, I think, did you say we were like 92 out of 94 were director green last month? That's awesome. Okay.
Yes. Yes, amazing. Like that's incredible with those high numbers. Wow.
Yeah. I tend to just, yesterday, what happened yesterday is great. We're working on this month now. So, all right, so another thing that I started, so this is just director green right here. Obviously, if they have a wave or a ship, they've got great sales, but this is not true paid at title, right? Like there are advanced directors and senior directors and executive directors represented here. So something that I started doing a couple years ago as well is an actual paid at title recognition. And some people are only in their first month because they just promoted to director. So they've started their streak right here.
Hey, Stace, can you put that in a large mode so people can see it a little bit better on the presentation mode, just for
Yep.
a minute? Thanks.
How do I do that? Slideshow?
Down at the bottom. Yep, slideshow will work.
All right, we might go back to the beginning for a second. We'll click it.
That's
Is that helpful?
Yep, there you go.
All right, here's the problem when I do that. I lose my notes. Oh, sugar.
Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about it. You know, it ends up showing it at the same size. I think you have it in presentation mode, so it's fine. Go ahead and go back to what you were doing.
Okay, good. Now I can see my notes again.
No worries.
All right, so this is literally based on where they paid at advanced director, senior director, executive director, national executive director. It is not fancy. I mean, if I could put this on a spiral piece of notebook paper, I probably would. One of my amazing admins puts it into this Excel spreadsheet for me. But the point is, people do not want to go back to this working on it column. They want to keep their streak going throughout the year. All right, I think I can stop share for just a minute and go back to my notes. So my hope is that upper level leaders will not will also work to help their directors be paid at title. And then that leads for overall strength within the organization. Okay, so have you guys heard this phrase, recognize what you want repeated? Has anybody heard that before? So I have a little second part to that I've added on to that. Recognize what you want repeated. So I recognize them for being paid at title. I recognize them for being director green. The second part of that is incentivize what you want to influence. So if you think about any area of your business where you are not getting the results that you want to get, that's where I would suggest offering an incentive. So we have been consistently paid at the national title for almost 2 years now, but I wasn't happy with that. I wanted to be paid at the national title by the 15th of every month. So last year I started an incentive. Let me go back. For my first gen directors, when they, sorry, it cut off a little bit, but basically when they are director green by the 15th of the month, and we make our national schedule structure, I'll help you in a second. And they fill out their goals. We'll talk about that in a second. They can get a $100 Amazon gift card from me. So I'm going to be honest, that could become very expensive. As a matter of fact, it has gotten pretty expensive in the last couple of months for me. However, we're paid at national title by the 15th of the month. So it was worth that investment to me to move the needle on where directors were being paid at title. But the important part that I want you to notice there is that that incentive was just for my first generation directors. Okay, I feel like I want to say any questions so far. I feel like, am I going too fast? Are we good? All right, cool. All right, so let's talk about the second expectation, setting goals. Setting monthly and yearly goals for our organization and having the leaders do the same has been very powerful in helping to strengthen our leaders and their personal teams. So I used to start let me try this again. I start every year with setting a goal for our entire organization. For me personally, that was crucial to help me stay focused on the growth that I wanted to have in the year. And after promoting to the national level, I really struggled with what is that next level that I'm going to work towards. I felt a little lost and aimless for a couple of months. So I asked myself the question, what's next? And I knew what I wanted to do, but it wasn't until I actually took the time to write it down and, more importantly, share those goals with our team that I finally found my focus and drive. And the answer to my what's next question went beyond being paid at title every month. It was to help more directors promote and level, and more upper level directors move to executive and even to national. And now it's even beyond that. Like, my what's next isn't even about Pampered Chef anymore. Pampered Chef is just how I'm going to do what I want to do in the world. Like, I really have been able to find my purpose in life. But no matter what your what next is and what your purpose is and what mine is, I knew that we needed some big hag goals for recruiting, end count, and director promotions to make that happen. So every January, I share my vision and goals with our team. The important part of sharing these goals with them was making sure that they knew and understood that when we make these goals as an organization, it actually means growth for them and strength for them. So for several years, I've been asking leaders to also set a yearly goal and quarterly goal and monthly goal for their team. But in the last couple of years, I really shifted to getting the goals from every director in my organization to only getting the goals from my first generation directors. Because this is something that I want you all to write down and remember. We cannot be all things to all people all of the time. And the more we can empower others and hold them accountable, the more we are duplicating ourselves over and over and over again. So now I only get the goals from my first generation directors. And on our coaching calls, I'm asking them about the goals of their directors. Without a doubt, I believe this is one of the key pieces of setting these goals and expectations to set goals far above company minimums. I kind of tell them what their goal minimums should be. So leaders that work to minimums become manipulators, not motivators. And no one enjoys working with a manipulator. So my leaders' goals at minimum have to be 2,500 in personal sales and 2 new team members a month. Like that is the bare minimum. Don't even try to tell me you're going to do less. Not happening. In raising the expectation for sales and recruits from my leaders, I have seen an increase overall on the average sales of directors to be consistently well over $4,000, well over, which has led to most, if not all of my directors being paid at title every month. Because when they're selling $4,000 a month, they are in front of enough people to recruit way more than 2 people a month. And of course, not everyone fills out that goal survey, but the list of people that do fill it out has grown and has become very consistent. And those that aren't eligible to earn the incentive that I offer. Remember that get $100 Amazon gift card when you're green by 15 and we're paid at title and you fill out your goals survey. So after the 5th of the month, I do a little recognition post. So I have all of my first generation directors in a message chat on Facebook, not a group, just a little messenger chat. And I do a screenshot of their goals and post it in there after I've collected them from them each month. And when I post it, that's usually when someone says, oh my gosh, how did I forget to do this? So that tells me they aren't opposed to doing it. They just forgot. And let's face it, we all forget sometimes. Sharing their goals with the other leaders instantly creates some transparent accountability. And I've also heard from leaders that it was very inspiring for them to see the goals of others and to see those who had similar goals. And after the month closes, I repost the goals, marking the ones that were achieved for recognition, but always, always, always with the reminder that it is not about achieving. It's not always about achieving. It's about stretching and growing. I would much rather have a leader set a big scary goal and fall short than set a very attainable goal every single month and reach it month after month after month. I know many of you set recruiting goals for your organization every year since 2014. This is something that I've done. And this year we're doing something really fun and powerful that has given our recruiting goal a purpose beyond our team. Our recruiting goal this year is 4,000 new consultants on our team. That is super scary. Like, I don't know if we're going to make it. But what we're doing is every month I'm putting a dime into a jar, and that dime represents a new consultant. And at the end of the year, when we reach our goal, we'll have $400 to donate to St. Jude's. The team voted on the organization that they wanted to vote to. donate to. So I think as of yesterday, we had 1,305 new consultants, which means we're actually tracking behind our goal. Whether or not we reach our goal, I'm going to share where we landed with our team, because when we don't reach a goal, how we handle ourselves in that moment and how we share that with our teams is an important part of strengthening leadership. Just like I would rather see them set a scary goal and fall short than set a safe one and hit it every single time, I want to do the same. So our last goal that we have is end count. And to make this really come alive for our leaders, every single month on our leadership page, I take our end count, multiply it by 10, and show them that is the amount in activity bonuses that we as a leadership team could earn that month, just in activity bonuses. That's our pie. And ask them how much of that pie do they want to get. That's that culture of teamwork and activity, right? Every consultant paid at title. So when a consultant is paying at title, they're submitting $150 a month. Accountability helps define the mission. So to keep everyone focused on our mission, I'm putting these goals out there. Okay. Last expectation is to, or not last, the third expectation is to lead your team versus hold title. This expectation is the sweet spot. Goals and accountability strengthen leaders. As we build relationships with each other, I'm focusing on helping them to duplicate themselves by creating more leaders, which is what a good leader does, not just hold the title. They create more leaders. A leader leads by setting the pace. Leading is also fulfilling their responsibilities as a director and building relationships with their team members and helping them to create leaders as well. Again, we cannot be all things to all people, and neither can our leaders. It's easy, if you're like me, to be a control freak and try to do all the things, to do all of the trainings, all of the onboarding, all of the director bound. We don't want to stress our directors out. We just want to make them feel comfortable and make this business easy for them so they can focus on being paid at title. But I want to tell you, if you are not giving them opportunities to lead, you are limiting their abilities. When you give other people opportunities to lead, you are empowering them. Let them run team trainings or be a part of your team training. Let them run their own opportunity events. Let them be a part of your director bound program or lead their own director bound programs. It will build their confidence. It will give them pride in themselves, and they will personally grow. They will not do it the way that you will do it the first couple of times, but they will learn and they will get better and better. And that's how we duplicate ourselves over and over. So through these support programs that we have in place, like having an all director call every single month, having one-on-one coaching calls with my first generation directors and holding them accountable to having their calls with their first generation directors, and having some social gatherings. When we were allowed to get together, we would have something called mimosas and masterminds once a month where we would just hang out and have fun. I heard Kathy say you guys had a little social gathering on Friday. Do that with your directors. Hop on Zoom. Give them time with you to just spend time with you where there's not an agenda. It's just about having fun together. And one other really big important piece that I have is because I'm only doing those one-on-one calls with my first generation directors, I do something called small group calls every single month where I pull everyone at the director level together, everyone at the advanced director level together, everyone at the senior director level together, and everyone at the executive level together. And we have no agenda. It's a 1-hour Zoom call at the beginning of every month. And I usually ask them 3 questions. What's going well? What are you doing that's really working that you can share with other people? And what are you struggling with? And what's really exciting is watching them lead and train other people, other leaders at their same level. We laugh. Sometimes we cry. Like when the whole COVID thing happened, there were a lot of tears shed on those small group calls. But this is a way that I, as their national, can build relationships with them and still feel connected to them. All right, I think I'm gonna, I don't know that I got through everything, Kathy. I was trying to trim it up there at the end, but I did want to give you guys a minute to ask some questions if you had any, or, and then I've got a little call to action for you. So is that okay that I?
Yeah, fantastic.
Right.
Amazing.
I feel like I threw a lot at them.
No, this is so great. I mean, okay, let's give it up for Stacy. Lots of clapping and happiness I see on everybody's face. So, so why don't you guys jump in the chat if you have a question and go ahead and type it in. I'm seeing lots of thank yous. Actually, Noelle, do you want to?
Yeah, we had a question earlier on asking, do they fill out the goals survey every month or at the beginning of the year?
Both. They do it at the beginning of the year and every single month. And then let me share one more screen. When they schedule their coaching calls, guys, this is a great service. It's free if you only want to have one type of call each month. But when my first gen schedules a call with me, I use a service called calendly.com, I can't spell it right now, calendly.com. And I ask them questions that they fill out when they schedule their call with me. So I'm making sure that they're not just setting their goals with me, but I'm asking them, how are you getting your goals from your leaders? When are your team trainings? Who are you working with to promote to director?
Awesome. We had a question. Do you post the paid at title spreadsheet in your leader group?
Yes, that's where that one goes. The ship one goes in the entire organization.
Okay. And Tammy asked, how do you promote it so that just your first generation is in your incentive?
I have them in a messenger chat. So that's where I post the incentives that I'm going to offer them.
Okay, cool. Some people asked if you were willing to share your goal survey. And lots of people also said that you're speaking directly to them today.
Ah, probably because I spoke to myself at some point as well about those very same things. Yeah, goal survey, guys, it's not complicated. I can tell you really quickly. Each quarter so in January, I asked them what's their quarter goal for sales, personal recruits, personal team sales, personal team recruits. If they're an upper level leader, org sales, org recruits. Like that's all it is. Every once in a while, I'll ask some crazy questions like, what's your favorite candy bar? Because I like to do Happy Mail, or what's your favorite place to get a gift card? Like I'm just getting weird information. What are you doing during the pandemic? And like, if I hear something crazy, then I'll be like, oh my gosh, did you all know that so-and-so is planting a new garden during the pandemic? Like just weird stuff in there. And I think some of them fill it out just because they want to see what crazy question I'm going to ask them that month. But as far as business goes, every quarter I'm asking their quarterly goal, but then also their monthly goal. And then in the second month of that quarter, one of the questions I ask them, I don't have to ask them their quarterly goal anymore. I'm just getting their monthly goal, but I ask them to figure out what changes they might need to make this month based on how they're tracking towards their quarterly goal. So if they had a quarterly goal to welcome 10 new consultants to their personal team, and they didn't recruit anyone in that first month, what are they going to do differently this month so that in month 3, they're not like, oh my gosh, What do we do now? And then I ask the same question in the third month of the quarter. What changes do you need to make this month based on how you're tracking towards your quarterly goal?
Love that. A question about clarifying what your incentive, the incentive that you described that you do. Goals by the 5th, Director Green by 15, paid at level. Is that paid at level by the 15th also for them to earn the gift card?
No, they have to be Director Green by the 15th right now. That's probably a shift that I will make later. Like for me, I don't want to go from here to here. Like first, my goal was to be paid at title every month. Now I'm moving it to be paid at title by the 15th May. And then once that happens, I'll probably move it to you have to be paid at title by the 15th to get the incentive.
Excellent. And we also had the question come up, how would you transition from currently doing incentives down to all lines pulling back to first gen only?
So that's a really great question. And I did it at the end of a year. It was easy to start fresh in January. I would say we're wrapping up an excellence year right now. So this is a good time for a change. And when I made that transition, I didn't make a big announcement to my entire organization. I made the announcement to my first gen and I let them know, guys, this is how I'm going to work with you. And I would challenge you to do the same. And so if I'm offering incentive to my first gen and then they're offering an incentive to their first gen and so on, then everybody's a part of an incentive that way.
Yeah, I love that too. And we had a request to share the incentive picture again.
Okay, how about if I give that to Kathy and you can use it however.
Love it. So there's no other questions in there. I haven't seen lots of thank yous and amazing and people very, very impacted by what you shared today, Stacy.
That's awesome. I'm so glad. So I guess my call to action for you all is ask yourself this question. Who are the 5 people you are currently working with to promote to director? How are you going to fuel that first gen in the next 90 days? And which leaders in your organization can you empower by giving them opportunities to lead so that they can grow and start duplicating themselves within their organization? And then look at your organizational sales and recruiting goals. Do they need to be increased based on the recent success we've had in April and May? And same with your sales goals and even director promotion goals. So I didn't say this, but recruiting, sales, director promotions, and end count. Those are 4 really big goals to have as you're working towards that executive level. Say again. Can you please say that again? The four, is that what you want me to say again? Sales, recruiting, director promotions, and end counts. And then if you want to go even bigger, how many upper level directors do you want to have at each level? That's something else that I really focus on as well. Okay, if you guys, I have to go. I'm actually a few minutes late for a coaching call. Apparently I talk much slower than I type, so sorry about that.
Well, thank you so much, Stacy. We really appreciate you being here. You guys don't know how busy this gal is. When I asked her about this, she was like, that's the only open slot I have. So you guys, this has been such a gift. She's very busy and we're just so grateful. I just love the way she leads, love the way she communicates with her team, and just you can see her heart in everything she does, and at the same time she has really high expectations. So Stacy, thank you once again for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Everybody, round of applause.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye, we'll talk to you soon. So guys, we're just going to go through a couple quick reminders and announcements that you're going to want to hear. So if you can stay on for that, that'd be great. I just typed in the call to action that Stacy just put into the with you. So you guys will have all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and just share the screen again so we can just go through a couple of things. So let me do that. She was amazing, wasn't she?
Amazing, fantastic.
Absolutely. So anyway, what I wanted to do was just kind of update you guys on where we are at with our goal, because you guys know that our goal is always to exceed the year before, which we are well on our way to doing, you guys, because in 2018 we had 12 promotions, in 2019 we had 28, and right now our goal was to have 100 promotions, right, by 2020, and we already have 94 execs right now, you guys, which is amazing. And so when we started Executive Bound, everybody weighed in and said, okay, we can have 40 promotions. Well, we had one on March 1st. We had 5 on April 1st. We had 12 on May 1st. And you guys, right now, we have 18 people that are tracking to hit month 2. So if all 18 of those hit it, you guys, we're going to have 36 new promotions. So kudos to all of them. Show your love in the chat for all these wonderful people that are going for it. To encourage them. They got this last week to hit month 2. And if you guys are actually in month 2 qualification, I want you to type that in the chat. And actually, I want you to put ED by June, okay, if that is you. And that means you've already hit April, now you're going to hit May, right? And so type that in. If you're going to hit month 1 of exec, we want to hear that. So type in ED by July 1st. So that'll be exciting to see who all is going for that. And some of you have already notified me. I know Denise Cazares sent me a message the other day that she's going for June 1st already, which is awesome. I know that there's also 6 people as a part of Executive Bound, you guys, that are going for SED month 1, and 5 people are going for SED month 2. So literally just blowing away these numbers. So go ahead and type that in the chat so we can see where you guys are at and what incredible stuff is happening here on the chat. So Noelle, anybody you wanted to shout out about?
Melinda's going ED by June. Kathy Cantrell, ED by July 1. Erin Jensen, ED by July 1. Mary Beth, ED by July 1. Linda McGuire, month 2 qualified. So she's a new exec in June, as of June 1. Way to go. Casey, ED by July 1. Jody is ED by July 1. Michelle, ED by July 1. Dawn is ED by June. She's $400 away.
Woo! So exciting.
Absolutely. Christy McDonald is SED month 1. Ashley, SED month 1 for June 1st. Way to go. Emily Kerrigan hit SED month 2. Woohoo!
Awesome.
Exciting. Way to go. Tammy Hunter's going for SED month 1 in June. Jen Mintner is ED by July 1st. Susan Hammer, super close to SED, going for month 1 for July. And Melinda, sorry, is month 2 qualified, LOL.
Oh, I love it. So you guys, this is a picture of some of our executives. We had to go to 2 screens, so it's just so exciting to see that we have 58 people at the executive level right now. So these are the other 4 that make it a total of 58. So of course we want to know who will be next. I know a bunch who are going to be next. I think at least 10 of you are already qualified for month 2 out of the 18. So that's really exciting. So if you haven't let me know that you're already qualified for month 2, let me know that so I can track it on my little tracker here that Noelle and I use. These are our, going right past them. Our senior executives, you guys, we have 12. So if you're going for that goal, guys, you are part of something pretty special. Only 12 organizations have achieved. And of course, then we have all of our nationals, 24 nationals. So you guys, this is my favorite chart right here. Look at this, how fun. This is 94 executives, and I get really excited when I start looking right here at all the people. This is all the new execs. Let's see, starting right here this year in order. Can you see my mouse there on Brittany Sunday? All of these new people, guys, so far this year. This is so fun because they do that in order when they promote. So just keep focusing on your goal. We want to know who is really focused on doing this by September. So just keep on doing what you guys are doing, because we know you can absolutely do it. And remember, you get to go to exec seminar. You can earn the Alaska trip. There's lots of special promotions for, reasons for hitting exec by September 1. So what we need to do is set a new goal. So I want you guys to type in the chat, because if all 18 promote, when all 18 promote this month, that will be 36 promotions, you guys, already this year. And so that will be 36 by June 1st. So my question is, what do you think should be the goal for the year? Because we need to set a new goal. Are you guys typing that in the chat?
I'm seeing 100, 100, 100. That is a common thread, 100.
Oh my, look at that. I was thinking like 75. Apparently I'm not a big enough thinker, am I?
Everybody's at 100. I dig it.
Oh, see, whoever started it influenced them all. Jen Mentor started it, right? All right. Well, hey, I'm all for going for big goals. Let's go for 100, guys. That's our
82 times our anniversary. I like that too.
Yeah, that's 2 times. That's great. Okay. That sounds really good. Okay, so we're going to just continue on with a couple quick announcements and we'll wrap up.
Absolutely. So a quick reminder of our Leadership Live, which will happen every Wednesday after one of our webinars. So tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central, I almost said 10 p.m., 10 a.m. Central Time on our Facebook group. And we'll be reinforcing our messaging from today. And again, if you have any additional questions for Stacy, let us know and we'll see if we can get answers for you before the Leadership Live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We're also continuing on with our First Friday calls. These have been such a huge hit. So the next one will be on June 5th. And if you are in month 1 or month 2, you're going to be joining in at 10 a.m. Central on June 5th. And at 12 noon Central Time, it will be open to all. So mark that in your calendar for that particular day.
Okay, and so, oops, that's supposed to say Noelle. Go ahead, Noelle.
Okay, so the First Friday, the extra support that we have in place for those of you in month 1 and or month 2, we have those First Friday group coaching calls at 10 a.m. Central. You also get emailed by us and you get the choice of a one-on-one coaching call or a Facebook Live in your team group with either myself or Kathy. And we have the leader call. So we are inviting participants. We invite you to invite all of your downline leaders. That was too many invites in one sentence. But we want you to invite your downline leaders to a leader call. And we also are doing an aspiring leader call. So participants in month 1 or month 2, your aspiring leaders, and your participants in first and second gen leaders with their aspiring leaders as well. So really and truly, oh, there's a question. I missed a question. Somebody's wondering the same thing. Is there, oh, that was about Alaska. So if we have time, Kathy, to circle back to that one. Okay, so the Google form, let's talk about the Google form. We're sending out our Google link on May 29th. So this will be for you to complete if you are going for month 1 or month 2. We really ask you to take 5 minutes and fill out the Google form. And then there is that call on June 5th for those in month 1 or month 2 at 10 a.m. Central. Please make sure you've completed the link by June 3rd so that we know where you stand. And it's also important to really consider, like, make sure you're committed to hitting it when you are filling in the Google form and committing to going for month 1 or month 2. We want you to just, not just say, I'm going to give it my best shot, I have nothing to lose. We really need to know that you have a plan in place to hit month 1 or month 2 when you're making that commitment. So if your structure is 3 and 1 and you don't have any aspiring leaders at all right now, that's not a plan, that's a wish, as we say. So remember, you want to double or triple that number of aspiring leaders for each generation in order to reach the goal of executive director team. So for an example, if you need 3 new first generation leaders, you should have 6 to 9 who are aspiring and that they have actually said, yes, I want to do this. I'm committed to doing it. And that's really the best strategy to have in place, so that you can have confidence that you have a strong plan in place for promotion. So when you let us know on that Google form that you're working towards month 1 or month 2, the qualifications, that's how we know, you know, who to reach out to add in this additional support that we have in place. All right, so Executive Bound graduation, it is happening on July 9th. From 10 a.m. till 12 noon Central Time for conference. And we know you're working hard to make your requirements, the 8 shows and 2 recruits a month, so that you will be able to attend the graduation event at National Conference. And please note on the National Conference agenda, if you've seen the agenda, it does say Lead and Lead Plus graduation, but Executive Bound graduates are also included in that. That was just a miscommunication. So we're having the event on July 9th from 10 a.m. till 12 noon. And we want you to be there. There's recognition, training, surprises. So again, we just want to make sure that you know about this, that you have your requirements in place, and a friendly reminder that if you do use your 5th pass, you will be released from the program and won't be able to attend the graduation event. And next up, join us in 2 weeks for our next webinar, Time Management and Systems for Success. And we are going to have another incredible guest speaker available for you. NED Becca Yon is going to be joining us, so you don't want to miss that. If at all possible, be on live so that you'll be able to ask questions as well. All right, that's it for us today, Kathy. If there were any additional questions that came in, I know there was something about Alaska, if you have time to answer that one.
Okay, can you hear me? Nope, hold on. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry, it's so weird. Is
somebody, you need to mute Kathy's iPhone. That's making.
Oh, okay, I will mute hers. Okay, perfect. All right, so the question, I believe, was about how are you tracking? Is that what it was? I just lost the chat.
Is there a way to calculate our sales volume for Alaska so we don't have to wait until the 10th?
Right now, there is not, unless you want to write down every single new consultant that has joined your team or your first generations team. So it is complicated, and we've had this request before, and I know some people are doing it, and there's a huge chance for error there. But what we are doing that most people saw is that we are sending out an on-track email. So basically, we had our analytics team kind of list what was on track as far as your sales volume and your new your recruits, and we're sending it out based on sales volume because we know you guys can pull together the recruits, and some of them have already been recruited but they haven't actually qualified yet. So what you'll notice in the email that you get is if you're on track with new sales volume, you're going to be getting that email. So I know that's not the answer people want to hear, but that's right now what's happening. So
we had a question, are the leader calls that you're doing just for exec, or do you do it again for senior exec?
Which leader?
The leader call that you invite, the participants invite their downline leaders.
Right now it's been for execs, but let me think about that.
And if we are in month 2 of SED in June, can our aspiring leaders still participate? And I would say yes, you're in this program.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Same question about the Google form, month 1 or 2 just for exec, or senior and national as well?
So if you are, mainly what we need to know is who's in month 1 or month 2 of executive, because we're pretty much tracking the others. Actually, you know what? Let's just have everybody fill it out for now. And because Jean and I have been kind of coordinating on this and how this is working, because basically once you guys get to month 1 of exec, she's kind of starting to jump in and help support at that level, just because we're supporting so many people right now.
For
So
senior. Once you're in
yeah.
month 1 of senior.
Yeah. So I'll have to take a look at the survey and adjust it, but I think actually that will be helpful to have that information. Month 1 of senior, did I not say that? Senior exec?
Yeah, you said exec.
Okay, meant to say month 1 of senior. Thank you, Noelle, for keeping me honest.
You're welcome. Absolutely.
I'm gonna make a note.
And Linda's asking if at some point we can talk about formulas to help us set org sales and recruiting goals. So more information on goal setting.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. So the really simple way to do this is to add your January, February, March, April, May sales so far. I mean, May's not over, so if you want to do January to April, add those sales up for 2019. And then add up the sales so far for 2020. And then what you need to do is figure out what's your percentage of increase. And if you need help with that, I can tell you guys how to do that. And then if you're looking at the rest of the numbers, you're just going to take, you know, what you did last year by that percentage of increase. If you're averaging a 50% increase, just continue to do that the next quarter and then take a look at it and see if it was true. Now, of course, April and May have been super high, so it may skew the numbers a little bit. But if you guys need more help with that, we can certainly talk about that more.
Excellent. Those were all of the questions, Kathy.
Yep. So yes, Linda, you can do January to April, 2019 versus 2020. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a really simple answer to how to figure the percentage of growth, that too. So this is a silly way that I remember it. It's new minus old divided by old. Just write that down for a minute. New minus old divided by new. Or did I just say that wrong? By old, right?
But
And
then
so
you have to take the difference.
yeah, and so what happens is when you do that, you're going to so see that it's 2019 minus 2018, right? And then divided by the new. So anyway, I will, I'll hit on that. Actually, why don't I post it in the Facebook page? Because I know that might be a little bit confusing. Okay, guys, thanks for hanging out a little extra longer to go through the announcements and the questions. I hope you guys loved what Stacy did. And I really want you guys to be thinking about those 3 things that she asked you to jump in and do. So, and any additional questions, we will chat tomorrow on our Leadership Live. All right, you guys, thanks everybody. Take care. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.